The new iPhone 13 and iPhone 13 mini are very similar to their predecessors from last year. The good news is that you get two of the headlining features of the far more expensive iPhone 13 Pro and iPhone 13 Pro Max, which are cinematic mode and photographic styles. You also get twice the amount of base storage and a faster SoC at the same starting price. On the downside, you don't get conveniences like a 120Hz refresh rate display or a macro-capable camera, which are now both fairly standard even on Android phones that cost a quarter as much. So if you're wondering if it's worth spending money on the iPhone 13 or the iPhone 13 mini, we're here to help you make that decision. First of all, starting prices are the same as for the previous models but with twice as much storage. The iPhone 13 mini starts at 69,900 rupees for 128GB, while the iPhone 13 starts at 79,900. You can add 10,000 rupees each to double that to 256GB, so the prices would be 79,900 and 89,900 rupees respectively. For the first time, there's a 512GB tier for non-Pro iPhones, but that will cost a further 20,000 rupees, bringing the prices of the top-end iPhone 13 mini and iPhone 13 to 99,900 and 1,09,900 rupees respectively. There are 5 color options: Midnight, Starlight, Blue, Pink and Product Red. You don't get a charger or headset in the box anymore, only a Type-C lightning cable, a SIM eject pin and an Apple logo sticker. The iPhone 13 and 13 mini are the same height and width as their iPhone 12 series predecessors, but are up to 0.25mm thicker and 11 grams heavier. The weight is slightly noticeable but doesn't make too much of a difference. Apple has made the notch on the front of all iPhone 13 models about 20% less wide, but it's also a little taller than before. You'll find that the volume controls on the left and power button on the right are slightly lower and easier to reach. The biggest difference though is the new diagonal camera arrangement. This is certainly attention grabbing, but not everyone will like that. Both the iPhone 13 and 13 mini have frames made of aluminum with glass on the back and Apple's own ceramic shield material on the front. This is said to be resilient to drops and scratches. These iPhones have IP68 ratings for dust and water resistance. While the smaller iPhone 13 mini has a 5.4-inch screen, the standard iPhone 13 has a 6.1-inch screen. These are crisp OLED Super Retina panels with higher brightness of up to 800 nits in typical use and 1200 nits with HDR content. Sadly, there's no high refresh rate and no ambient display feature, which are both disappointing considering Apple's premium prices. On the inside, the main attraction is the new Apple A15 Bionic SoC. The company says that even last year's A14 Bionic is still ahead of the competition, and now its lead has only widened. That said, the iPhone 13 and iPhone 13 mini have one less GPU core than the iPhone 13 Pro and 13 Pro Max, even though the name of the SoC is the same. There's no fingerprint sensor, and Apple's 3D Face ID doesn't work if you're wearing a mask, which is unfortunate. The earpiece doubles up as a second speaker for stereo sound. In actual use, the iPhone 13 mini is an extremely convenient phone. It's easy to hold and work with, and it won't feel fatiguing. On the downside, the small screen does make content feel a bit cramped by today's standards. Typing especially might take some time to get used to if you've been using a larger phone. Games with a lot of controls like COD Mobile might be a little hard to get comfortable with, but Asphalt 9 Legends with just one button for each thumb was fun. The standard-sized iPhone 13 gives you much more room to breathe and is also easier to hold in landscape for playing games. If you read a lot or see yourself watching videos on your phone regularly, this might be the better choice. Both phones have bright, crisp screens and content looks great. Colors are extremely vibrant without being oversaturated, and viewing angles are great. It's a pity that there's no high refresh rate, although iOS 15 is optimized very well. The new notch is still intrusive when watching videos, but most games have now adapted their layout so you don't lose anything. Both the iPhone 13 and iPhone 13 mini feature stereo speakers which deliver expansive, loud sound. It's clear at high volumes, but the low end is relatively weak as expected. In everyday use, both models were quick and responsive. There's no lag of any kind or any issue when scrolling through the iOS 15 UI. Despite having one less GPU core than the Pro models, the iPhone 13 and iPhone 13 mini ran games and tests perfectly fine. Their rears did get slightly warm after playing games for a while. Apple doesn't officially talk about RAM or battery capacities, but it's clear that the smaller iPhone 13 mini delivers weaker battery life. It lasted through a full day of use, but there wasn't much left over, and you'll probably want to make sure you charge it each night. The iPhone 13 did a bit better, lasting for nearly a day and a half. In our HD video loop test, the iPhone 13 ran for 14 hours and 54 minutes, while the iPhone 13 mini managed 12 hours and 17 minutes. Now coming to cameras. You don't get exactly the same specifications for the main and ultra-wide cameras as on the Pro models, and there's no telephoto camera at all. The ultra-wide camera cannot take macro shots either. However, sensor shift stabilization is now standard across the entire lineup. You also do get cinematic mode, which automatically adjusts focus between subjects in a video, as well as photographic styles, which let you customize how your phone processes color and tone in photos. To know more about these features, do check out our iPhone 13 Pro and iPhone 13 Pro Max review. Photos shot with the main cameras on both phones in the daytime were crisp and detailed. Colors are accurate and exposures were usually just right even indoors. Night mode is enabled automatically and you can tweak the exposure length or disable it if you want. This results in bright, detailed shots. The ultra-wide cameras on both phones also capture great shots in daytime with very little loss in detail unless you look very closely. At night, quality does deteriorate more than with the main camera. Portrait shots are impressive, but you need some distance between yourself and the subject. Selfies are also crisp and natural looking, and portraits are possible thanks to the True Depth sensor. You can shoot videos at up to 4K 60fps and Dolby Vision HDR is supported. Clips shot with the primary camera were stabilized well and detail is excellent at 1080p as well as 4K. The ultra-wide camera makes for shakier shots, but if you're standing still, quality is still good. HDR video looks especially sharp on the phone's own screens. At night, there is some jitter in very low light. There's no doubt that the new iPhone 13 and iPhone 13 mini work smoothly. The iPhone 13 mini in particular could be a good choice if you're upgrading for an older model and want something small. The choice between them is primarily about convenience and ease of use, but do consider that there is a difference in battery life. These phones offer most of what you'd get with the far more expensive iPhone 13 Pro and iPhone 13 Pro Max. That said, if you're okay without the 120Hz ProMotion display, and if you don't need cinematic mode or photographic styles, you'd probably also be happy with the iPhone 12 or iPhone 12 mini. Last year's models are still pretty snappy, and you might just find that their value proposition is better for you right now. So that was our review of the new iPhone 13 and iPhone 13 mini. Do let us know which of these phones you'd be more likely to buy. Thanks for watching, and for all things tech, visit us at gadgets360.com.